From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. Parliament's opposition Conservatives are hoping to see the fruits of their labour a day after their leader introduced a non-confidence motion against the Liberal government. But it appears this afternoon's vote on that motion to topple the minority government and spark an early election will yield only pits.
The polls have favored the Conservatives for more than a year now, but both the NDP and the Bloc Québécois have said they will not support the non-confidence motion because they don't support the Conservatives. The Bloc Québécois says it would rather use the opportunity of a minority parliament to negotiate with the Liberals, rather than trigger an election that would likely install Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre as Prime Minister. Jason White, The Canadian Press.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is expected to return to Ottawa in time for the afternoon vote, having spent several days in New York at the annual UN General Assembly. Hezbollah has launched a missile at Tel Aviv in its deepest strike yet into Israel, marking a further escalation after Israeli strikes on Lebanon this week killed hundreds of people. The Israeli military says it intercepted the projectile, and there were no reports of casualties. It also said it struck the site from which the projectile was launched. The Hezbollah militant group said it targeted the headquarters of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency. Leaders of New Brunswick's three main political parties will hold a televised debate tonight. The event in Moncton marks a key milestone in the provincial election campaign, which started last Thursday ahead of a vote October 21st. Florida's Gulf Coast is bracing for what will likely be Hurricane Helene. The tropical storm is gaining strength in the Caribbean Sea ahead of its expected pass near Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula today, and it's expected to strengthen rapidly as it moves across the Gulf of Mexico and hits West Florida's Big Bend region tomorrow. That's where Stephanie Parks lives in Shell Point, and she's worried the storm could become a major Category 3 hurricane when it makes landfall.
It just comes and goes, and I just deal with it. So this time I think it's going to be real fast moving, so hopefully I have a home to come back to.
Forecasters say the entire west coast of Florida faces a possibly life-threatening storm surge. Singer-songwriter Elizabeth Lowell Boland was recognized at the SOCAN Awards last night in Toronto for her contributions to Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter country album.
This ain't Texas.
The Calgary native says having one of music's biggest stars select her as a collaborator on the songs Texas Hold'em and Bodyguard was a shock.
Being part of something so important, just a part of history in the small way that I was just the most amazing part of my life, I would say, to date.
Lowell's work was celebrated at the SOCAN Awards for songwriters and composers. She shared a country music award with her Canadian co-writer Nathan Ferraro. Also celebrated was Toronto rapper Drake. He wasn't at the ceremony, but he swept all 4 rap categories, and he won Songwriter of the Year in the Performer category. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Trevor Story hit a tie-breaking double in a 3-run 10th inning to lift the Boston Red Sox to a 6-5 win over the Toronto Blue Jays at Rogers Centre. There was a lot of clinching going on Tuesday night by Major League Baseball teams earning tickets to the playoffs. The San Diego Padres clinched a spot when they turned a triple play to preserve a 4-2 victory over the NL West leading Dodgers. The Baltimore Orioles clinching no worse than a wild card berth with a 5-3 win over the Yankees. The Houston Astros clinched their 4th straight AL West title with a 4-3 win over the Seattle Mariners. And Mississauga, Ontario's Josh Naylor had a pair of RBIs as the AL Central champion Cleveland Guardians clinched a first-round bye in the postseason with a 6-1 win over Cincinnati. Retired NFL quarterback Brett Favre told a U.S. congressional committee on Tuesday that he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Favre made the announcement as part of his testimony about a welfare misspending scandal in Mississippi. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.